Hi everybody, Jerry Darkus here. I'm Executive Director of the Cleveland Museum of Natural History Trout Club. Today I'm at the Castalia State Fish Hatchery in Castalia, Ohio, and we're going to take a look at the lottery fishing area on Cold Creek here, where you can put in, and if you get drawn, you get a half day of fishing on Cold Creek here, and it's super high quality fishing, as we'll see. But we're going to get started here and do our tour, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Right at this moment, I'm on the banks of Cold Creek, which flows through the property or is part of the property. And the state actually has a lottery where you can apply, and if you get picked, you get to come out and fish for, I think they're half a day slots they do here. So it's a beautiful place. Hard to believe we're actually in Ohio when you see this. But this is, really just a great source of cold, clean water, and a basis for, a lot of the trout that we have here in the state, and especially this is where the Ohio Steelhead program starts. Here's another part of the lottery section of the creek here at Castalia. As you can see, I think no shortage of fish. Well, here's a nice access area for someone who's not able to stand or walk too well to get right into a prime spot. Nice pavilion down there to hang out and rest. So this would be an example of something that we would call a spring creek. Spring creeks generally have quite uniform flow to them. They have a lot of softer bottom areas where there's a lot of vegetation. They're typically very fertile with abundant insect and subaquatic type life. Consistent flows of water, consistent temperature. So we'll find waters like this scattered really all across parts of the U.S. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, at least here in the Midwest, even like Missouri, a lot of, so these spring creeks, Montana, Wyoming, there's a lot of spring creeks around. They're kind of unique. As opposed to a freestone river, which again generally has fast flow, very rocky, more riffle pool type situation. So that's kind of the two main types of trout streams in particular that we talk about. And you can see fish are actively feeding on something here. No big mayflies or bugs at this time of year, but there's probably a lot of small insects active, or even terrestrials, ants and beetles and stuff like that are falling in the water. Okay, let's talk a little bit about terrestrial patterns. As I mentioned, terrestrials are land-based insects that either fly, jump, or get blown into the water. These are ants, crickets, beetles, grasshoppers, that type of stuff. Here's an assortment of what I would call black bottom flies or black belly flies, ants, beetles, crickets, and that black color really triggers trout to hit in the summertime in a lot of cases. You can see that most of these are a combination of foam and rubber legs these days. They also have a contrasting bright color of some sort on the back to make them visible on the water, because they do tend to sit really low and are hard to see. If we look at hopper patterns, we usually find the flies with belly colors that'll be yellow, tan, green, And for some reason pink often works really well too. One thing I've found is that the fish can get more selective to hoppers, especially size and color, than they do on like ants and beetles and the darker colored flies. So if you have hoppers around, try and match the size and color better. On the dark colored flies, maybe not quite as important. And make sure you match the line and tippet to the size fly that you're using. Okay. What do you say we head on the water and take a look at some terrestrial fishing action now? Just a few final thoughts before we get fishing. Here's a fly pattern I'd like to share with you that I started tying a number of years ago that has proven really effective. Essentially, it's a sheet of black foam with a sheet of brighter colored foam glued on top of it. It's cut into strips, and depending on the width of the strip, the way you cut it determines the hook size. You tie it down in the front and the back by the bend of the hook, add some rubber legs, and you're ready to go. I make these in anywhere from about a 14 up to a size 6, and they catch trout, they catch panfish, largemouth, smallmouth. Fun fly to tie, great fly to fish. So here's a few things about fishing terrestrial patterns. You don't necessarily need rising fish in order to fish these flies. In fact, the larger ones, crickets and hoppers, you can often do quite well just by fishing the water, fishing likely areas. You want to throw them towards structure on the bank. You want to put them under overhanging branches, next to high grass, under trees, anywhere where bugs could drop off or jump in and hit on the surface. The other thing too with these bigger flies is that don't be afraid to make them splat when they hit. I mean, that's a trigger for fish to come and take them. They get keyed in towards the noise of the bug hitting the water, period. Also, if you do have fish rising and you can't really see what they're feeding on, you can try one of the bigger flies like a hopper or a cricket, but that might be a better situation to put a small ant or something like that on instead, because there might be small bugs, small surface or terrestrial bugs right in the surface film that you really can't identify too. So a couple different ways to present terrestrials. Hope you have a good time doing it and catch some good fish. Thanks. Not sure if I spooked those fish. Something spooked them. But they're moving right back into feeding position here. Big brown trout, a little deeper, just off the tip of that weed bed. And mostly rainbows zipping around right here right now. Oh, there's a bigger brown down below. So again, classic Spring Creek. Low gradient, smooth flow, a lot of vegetation. Hey folks, Jerry Darkus here again. On behalf of the Cleveland Museum of Natural History Trout Club, I'd like to thank you for joining us today at the Castalia Hatchery and Cold Creek. Hope you enjoyed the presentation and had a good time. I would like to thank Andy Jarrett from the Ohio Division of Wildlife, the hatchery manager here, for his tour. Also Kevin Kale, the Director of Hatcheries for the Division of Wildlife, for all the great work they're doing and the photos that he was able to send me to help support this project. Also want to thank Jeff Liskay for some steelhead video, and Lou Holder for doing the editing and putting this program together. We hope that you will consider joining the Trout Club if you're not a member already. All the information is at www.cmnh.org/Trout Club, as well as contact information, people you can call if you have any questions, email, anything like that. So till next time, we look forward to seeing you, and take care, be safe. Bye-bye.